Good morning, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order. Secretary, please call the roll.
Trustee Atkins?
Here.
Trustee Canada? Here. Trustee Jenkins?
Here.
Trustee Moore?
Here.
Trustee May is absent. Trustee Mealard?
Here.
Trustee O'Malley?
Here.
Trustee McInnes?
Here.
Trustee Rowe?
Here.
Trustee Simler?
Here.
Non-trustees present.
We have a quorum, and I call the meeting to order. At this time, I'd like to welcome Campbell Moore as our new student trustee. Campbell is an undergraduate student pursuing a Bachelor of Business Administration with a concentration in marketing. I know she'll be a great addition to the board. I told her last night that every new student has to have my haircut. For some reason, she decided that
Not gonna
this would be
happen.
different this time. Welcome, Campbell.
Thank you.
Please note that there are items on your agenda that need to be adopted. Before I call for a vote, are there any items that you wish to be extracted from the consent agenda? Hearing none, I move for adoption of the agenda, including the consent agenda items. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The agenda is adopted. The minutes for the March 22nd, 2024 board meeting were circulated in advance. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Do we have a motion to approve the minutes as written?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The minutes are approved. In accordance with Tennessee law, if there had been requests from the public to address the board, it would occur at this point in the meeting. However, the board did not receive any requests, so we'll move on to the next agenda item. At this time, I recognize President Licari, who will introduce today's campus spotlight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I introduce our speakers, I just want to say a few words. Most people assume that campus is completely deserted during the summer, and it does empty a bit, but many faculty and staff are busy working with hundreds of K-12 youth in summer camps that we host on campus. These camps support Clarksville, Montgomery County, and also open the door to recruiting those participants as future Austin Peay students. As with the Aspiring Nurses Camp, for example, that just wrapped up a couple of weeks ago. With that, let me introduce our speakers in the order they will present. Dr. William Buzz Hoon is the Dean of the College of Arts and Letters. Dr. Hoon has been in higher education for more than 30 years and has an extensive background in sports broadcasting. Dr. Karen Meisch is the Dean of the College of Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. She started at Austin Peay in 2007 as a faculty member in the biology department with a focus on genetics. Lauren Wilkinson is the interim director of University Recreation. She has a master's degree in health and human performance from Austin Peay, started here as a graduate assistant with University Rec in 2008, and began her career in 2010 here when she was hired as the fitness coordinator. And finally, Jordan Harmon, a two-time alumnus of Austin Peay, is Deputy Athletics Director and Chief Revenue Officer for the Athletics Department. He oversees all major athletics gifts and capital facility projects, the partnership with SS&E, and leads our NIL efforts. With that, I will turn it over to our presenters.
Good morning. I have the pleasure of beginning the presentation as the Community School for the Arts is within my college, so I'll start everything off. The Community School of the Arts has an over 30-year history at Austin Peay State University. Established in 1990, the CSA serves Clarksville, Montgomery County, as well as our surrounding region, and offers a variety of community arts classes for all ages, children through adult, in the areas of dance, theater, music, creative writing, and visual art. In 2017, SECA, the Center of Excellence for the Creative Arts, took over the management of CSA, and its programs have continued to grow ever since. In addition to offering courses, programs, and events throughout the year, CSA is also home to the Clarksville Youth Orchestra, Clarksville Youth Theater, and Clarksville Children's Chorus. This summer, the CSA is offering several summer classes during the month of June. Classes include writing for military and families, theater tots, theater for children, and acting and improv for youth. Last June, our enrollment was 24 participants, and this year we estimate growth to be in the range of 40 to 60 participants. Immersive day camps are another way that CSA supports our youth artists during the summer. Our theme of the year is the 1990s, as if that was such a long time ago. And we are excited to offer campers workshops focused on art, theater, and dance, in addition to fun activities like tie-dye and arts-themed games. Each camp session ends with a performance, reception, and showcase of campers' work. Day camps are open to kids ages 8 through 15 and will run over the summer in July for 2 weeks. We anticipate enrollment to reach at least 60 campers during those 2-week sessions. And finally, we are pleased to announce that in 2025, APSU will become the home of the Tennessee Young Writers Workshop. Made possible through a collaboration with Humanities Tennessee, this week-long overnight summer camp serves students ages 14 to 18 from across the state. This program will engage over 50 high school-age students, as well as our creative writing faculty and guest writers from across the region, as they work with students in a variety of creative writing genres. This program was hosted by APSU years ago, and we're glad to be able to bring it back to campus and support our Tennessee young writers. And now I'll pass this along to the University Recreation.
Thank you. Right. University's Recreation Summer Camp program began in 2007 as a testament to our commitment to the well-being and development of future governors and to supporting both APSU and the Clarksville community. This initiative was born out of a desire to provide a meaningful, enriching experience for young children, facilitating healthy and active lifestyles while fostering a strong sense of community and university pride. The Junior Gov Summer Camp, spanning 6 weeks with approximately 65 campers each week, offers a safe and nurturing environment where children aged 5 to 12 can explore their interests, discover new talents, and develop crucial life skills. Through a wide array of recreational activities, we promote physical well-being, social and emotional growth, and academic enrichment. Our campers participate in activities such as sustainability practices in the university gardens, interactive STEM projects led by APSU faculty, sports and games like rock climbing or basketball, and hands-on interactions with a variety of animals and reptiles. This year, we are excited to introduce music therapy, led by the APSU Department of Music faculty, adding a new dimension to our comprehensive program. Beyond the impact on our campers, the Junior Gov Summer Camp also provides significant opportunities for APSU students. By prioritizing the hiring of students, including those from the Child Learning Center and education majors, we create experiential learning opportunities that are invaluable for those pursuing careers in childhood education, teaching, or coaching. This not only enhances the camp experience for children, but also supports our students' professional development and readiness for their future careers. We also now have former campers who are applying to be summer camp counselors. The Junior Gov Summer Camp is more than just a summer program. It reflects APSU's dedication to fostering a supportive and interconnected community. By investing in the development of our youth and providing valuable employment and learning opportunities for our students, we reinforce the bond between the university and the broader Clarksville community. This program exemplifies our mission to promote engagement, enrichment, and holistic development, laying a strong foundation for the future success of our children and students alike. Thank you, and I'll pass to Dr. Karen Meisch.
Thank you. All right, so the Austin Peay College's STEM summer programs and camps are born out of a desire to offer local grade school students in Clarksville and throughout Middle Tennessee interactive educational opportunities during the summer months, while of course exposing them to the resources they can find on our own campus right in their own backyards. These programs serve children that are just learning the basics of computer skills in kindergarten to the most talented high school juniors and seniors throughout the state of Tennessee. So I'll begin, which is actually happening right now on campus, with about 40 of the state's highest achieving juniors and seniors coming to Austin Peay for 3 weeks to enjoy a residential college experience while earning 4 college credit hours at the Governor School of Computational Physics. This is one of 11 Department of Education grant-funded programs across the state. The classes cover selected topics in calculus and vector analysis, elementary and intermediate programming skills, basic data acquisition, and an in-depth study of topics in physics and engineering such as ballistics, electric currents, structural vibrations, and chaos. Some of our camps that serve our more local youth and have been in high demand are our APSU summer coding camps. These camps and the year-round APSU junior coders offered every Saturday throughout the entire year were first started in 2018 and has served over 1,600 K through 12 children from the region. Some of you may have kids and grandkids that maybe play Roblox or Minecraft. Do you know that the coding camps actually help them to create their own Roblox or teach students how to code using Minecraft? So they're not just making boring computer programs, they're actually doing something that kids are really engaged with and want to actually learn more about. Google has been a great partner with helping us fund about $150,000 of the cost of these coding camps since 2018, allowing them to be offered at a greatly reduced rate or even free for some of our students. The other benefit that sometimes we forget about, though, is the experience our own students have while they're working with these kids. And so there's been about 30 Austin Peay students and alumni that have helped implement these camps since their inception. Data show that in STEM fields, middle school is a time where especially girls tend to either lose interest in STEM areas or think they're not smart enough, unfortunately, to pursue STEM careers. That's why some of our more recent camps, like Earth Explorer Camp, Space Explorer Camp, and Lab Explorer Camp, are all aimed at this middle age, school age, to help keep them engaged in as many different STEM disciplines as possible. Earth Explorer Camp is a week-long camp where students learned about volcanoes, sinkholes, water resources, rocks and minerals, fossils, and earthquakes. Space Explorer Camp also ran for the first time last year. This camp provided campers with the opportunity to learn about planets, stars, while also engaging in fun and exciting activities such as building telescopes, making craters, launching water bottle rockets. This summer, we are offering Space Explorer Camp again and a new camp, Lab Explorer Camp, focused on doing real experiments and using real research techniques in the lab in both chemistry and biology. This is just a small sample of some of the different STEM summer programs available. Others that we have done in the past include autonomous robot racing mini camps, 3D printing camps, manufacturing camps, and mathematics camps, just to name a few. Many have been funded by Google, and we hope to continue to be a place where we can inspire our regional youth to pursue STEM by keeping it fun and engaging. And I will hand it off to Jordan.
Good morning. So, athletics camps. Through the athletics department in our facilities, we'll host over 50 days worth of camps this summer here at Austin Peay. These camps will range from young kids all the way up to high school prospects that we're looking to recruit to become governors. The number of camps are around the 40 mark, while we have well over 1,000 individuals participating over the course of the summer. These camps will accomplish a variety of goals, from a generation of revenue for the programs, enticing potential recruits to choose APSU, community partnerships, and simply Austin Peay exposure. One unique example is the Tennessee Titans camp that we just hosted earlier this week at Forterra Stadium. This camp was for 7 to 14-year-olds and was sold out for over 300 participants. This camp is simply to partner with a great organization in the Titans, as well as being on the campus of Austin Peay, while we try and grow the game of football. A unique aspect is that it was run by Austin Peay coaches as well as Tennessee Titans coaches. Another different yet extremely valuable set of camps we host on campus are our high school student-athlete recruitment camps. An example of that would be the Jeff Ferris football camps. These are different because they target high school student-athletes interested in playing. Anyone want me to get that? So these are different because they target high school student-athletes interested in playing football at Austin Peay. There will be well over 300 kids at each one of these, and it's a great opportunity to find the next generation of governors while also showing off our great university. Most of our other sports host these camps as well, and it generates multiple student athletes being recruited by our coaches, then becoming Govs themselves. These camps for most of our sports are slated throughout the entire summer, as well as some in the fall and winter time. Our coaches say it often, and there is proof behind when they say it, but when we get recruits to campus and show them what Austin P is, they become forever Governors. Thank you.
Thank you. Great presentations. Do we have any questions for the campus spotlight presenters?
I'd just like to make a comment. Chairman Jenkins, thank you all and every one of your staff members who are involved in these camps as well. I can personally attest that my children have attended the camps over the years. They're fantastic. This is a great way to connect to the Clarksville, Montgomery County community and beyond. And not only that, but it gives our youth things to do that are productive over the summer, from engaging in, more academic things to more athletic aspects. And then the junior govs, that's also a great way to support our own employees by providing something for their children to do during the day while they're at work. So I think all the camps are fantastic. I definitely do not want to see our campus just being kind of vacant over the summer. So it's great to see that energy and the connection with our community. So it takes a lot of work, though. I'm aware of that. So please pass on my thanks to all of your staff members that work on these camps.
Well, the STEM camp to me seems like that might be painful for me at my age. That's
You can do
way
it, don't
too
worry.
academic for it. But I think I came to band camp here in the 1950s and got on campus. And I think it's hugely important to get students on campus. And Jordan, as you said, you get these students on campus, you're going to keep a lot of them here as students, whether they're athletes or not. So I applaud all of you for doing that, to get as many of these kids on here and have a wonderful summer experience.
I would just echo those remarks and ask kind of what Phil was saying. Is there any information that would indicate how many kids that might come for a summer camp, residential or otherwise, that end up being students here? Is there any potential translation from one to the other?
I don't necessarily know that I have an actual data to share with you, but I know I have had students actually come up to me that have told me, hey, I started coding camp back when I was in 8th grade, and now I'm coming here as a freshman. And I've had that several times, actually, where students have told me that. So.
Right.
We see a lot of success with it from an athletic standpoint. We'll get a lot of student athletes that come to camps that we end up recruiting, and they commit to us. We also see it on an aspect of they may not be willing to play a sport here, or we want them to play a sport here, but they become student managers, or they get involved in the program one way, shape, or form, so they become Govs as well. Yeah.
In our Govs Computational School for Physics, we usually capture around 3 to 5 of those 40, which is huge, because these students can literally go anywhere they want. And so it's really fantastic. When
Yeah, I
we're
would think
able
the
to-
familiarity they gain by being here and the
Absolutely.
comfortableness they might get by being here is a real asset, so that's
Absolutely.
good. Thank you all.
I have a question on the other extreme. My grandson has participated in some of these things and enjoyed it, but are there any programs at the university, and I should know this, but that deal with the other end of aging and like elder hostels or anything like that? Like music or art or reading or something? I think they used to have programs here at the university, but I
We do,
don't think they
yeah.
were sponsored by Austin P. It might have been a national.
We do we have art classes, and we have several retired folk that will take music classes as well, so.
Thank you.
Ours is a little different. We do a lot of community service throughout the year with our student athletes, where they go to retirement homes or care homes and go visit with those people for a few hours.
But I think what you're speaking of, Trustee Mueller, is like camps for seniors or retirees, people older, to help them, right, with different arts and helping with the mind and et cetera, right? Yeah.
And I think so. Some of those programs are more year-round than just summer. So I know, for instance, we've had some of our computer science students that have actually gone to retirement communities to just help them with technology, right? If you could have, right, that student that knows how to set up your phone perfectly or help with some of that. So we actually have done some of that, but I think a lot of that happens more throughout the year than just concentrated in summer.
Any further questions? We thank you all for your effort, and you've done a phenomenal job of introducing Austin Peay to Clarksville and communities around here. Do a great job, and it's definitely needed for our youth, and we need to get as many of them involved and interested, excuse me, in education as possible. And it doesn't happen automatically. It takes a lot of effort, and we thank you for your efforts on that. Let's give them a Okay, now we'll move on to action items, the Academic Affairs Committee report. I recognize Trustee O'Malley to give us a report of the Academic Affairs Committee meeting.
Thank you for the opportunity to present my report from this morning's meeting of the Academic Affairs Committee. The committee approved minutes from the Academic Affairs Committee meeting on March 22nd, 2024. The committee reviewed and approved the following action item, which is on the agenda for your approval today. Termination of the Applied Behavioral Analysis Certificate Program. Senior Vice Provost Brown presented one information item regarding the SAC-COC decennial reaffirmation. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee O'Malley. Trustee O'Malley's report included one item requiring action of the board. Trustee O'Malley, do you have a motion for action on the termination of the Applied Behavioral Analysis Certificate?
Yes, thanks. You have before you a proposal to terminate the Applied Behavioral Analysis Certificate Program. By direction of the committee, I move to approve this program termination.
You've heard the motion to approve the termination of the Applied Behavioral Analysis Certificate. Since this is a motion of the committee, a second is not required. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, signify by saying nay. Motion carries. I recognize Trustee Miller, Chair of the Audit Committee, to give us a report of the committee meeting.
Thank you for the opportunity to present my report from today's Audit Committee meeting. The committee approved the minutes from the March 22nd, 2024 Audit Committee meeting. The committee also reviewed and approved one action item, the fiscal year 2025 audit plan. The committee heard presentations on the following information items. A, review of internal audit reports released between March 1st, 2024 and May 9th, 2024, with a list of outstanding audit recommendations. And B, review of external audit reports. That concludes my report of the Audit Committee meeting.
Thank you, Trustee Miller. I recognize Trustee Kanata, Chair of the Business and Finance Committee, to give us a report of the committee meeting.
Thank you for the opportunity to present my report from this morning's Business and Finance Committee meeting. The committee met and approved the minutes from the March 22nd, 2024 meeting. The committee reviewed and approved one action item, which you approved today by consent. It was the revisions to the policy 1021, the fees, charges, refund, and fee adjustments. The committee considered and approved 5 action items needing consideration of the board. The 5 items were the tuition and mandatory fees for the 2024-25 academic year, the military-affiliated tuition rate, the estimated budget for the 2023-24 fiscal year, and the proposed budget for the 2025 fiscal year. The capital outlay and maintenance request for the 25-26 fiscal year, and finally, the land lease with the Clarksville Regional Airport. Vice President Rupivar Also provided an informational update on the university's organizational chart. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Canada. Trustee Canada's report included 5 items requiring action of the board. Trustee Canada, do you have a motion on tuition and mandatory fees for the 24-25 academic year?
I do. Your meeting materials included in the proposed tuition and mandatory fees for the 25 academic year. The proposed tuition and mandatory fees reflects a 4% increase from the last academic year. By the direction of the committee, I move to approve the tuition and mandatory fees for the 2025 academic year.
You've heard the motion to approve the tuition and mandatory fees for the 24-25 academic year. Since this is a motion of the committee, a second is not required. Is there any discussion? Secretary, please call the roll.
Trustee Atkins.
Yes.
Trustee Canada.
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
Trustee O'Malley.
Yes.
Trustee McInnes.
Yes.
Trustee Rowe.
Yes.
Trustee Simler.
Yes.
All ayes.
Trustee Canada, do you have a motion on military-affiliated tuition rate?
Yes, I do. Your meeting materials included information regarding the proposed military-affiliated tuition rate. By direction of the committee, I move to approve the military-affiliated tuition rate as presented.
You've heard the motion to approve the military-affiliated tuition rate. Since this is a motion of the committee, a second's not required. Is there any discussion? Secretary, please call the roll.
Trustee Atkins.
Yes.
Trustee Canada.
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
Trustee O'Malley.
Yes.
Trustee McInnes.
Yes.
Trustee Rowe.
Yes.
Trustee Simler.
Yes.
All ayes.
The motion carries. Trustee Canada, do you have a motion on the estimated budget for the 23-24 fiscal year and proposed budget for the 24-25 fiscal year?
Yes, I do. Your meeting materials included the estimated budget for the 2024 fiscal year and the proposed budget for the 2025 fiscal year. By direction of the committee, I move to approve the estimated budget for the 24 fiscal year and the proposed budget for the 25 fiscal year.
You've heard the motion to approve the estimated budget for the 23-24 fiscal year and proposed budget for the 24-25 fiscal year. Since this is a motion of the committee, a second is not required. Is there any discussion?
I have one question, just because I can't remember, but have we ever had a follow-on briefing in terms of how close we've come to the estimates in actual execution of the budget? And if not, could we have that? Is that doable?
I think, well, first of all, the October revised budget that the board approves in December is a sort of a check back into this coming year's budget, right? So the budget that you will approve again in December will be a tightened up version of what's before you right now for the fiscal 25 year. So the board does get another crack at budget sort of midstream during the fiscal year. And then the material that is before you as well, which is the closing of the fiscal 24 year, I suppose could be presented in reference to what was projected back a year ago. Technically speaking, all that material is still there, so if the board wishes to have a little bit more of a comparative view of things, that's fine. Understanding that whenever we're sitting here in June preparing a budget for you to approve, these are guesses at the moment, right, regarding enrollment and a lot of other expenditures, for example.
Yes, sir. I just think that would be helpful in the next year's projection to say, hey, this one fell a little bit short in this area, and I think,
The Finance
or
Committee-
support a difference.
Correct. The Finance Committee could certainly review trends in expenditures and revenues
yes.
and things like that.
I don't want to make a lot of extra work,
But if you want some trend lines, I'm sure we can
Okay.
present material in that way for you.
Okay, thanks.
Great suggestion.
Mr. Chairman, I also just like to say that, like I mentioned in the committee meeting earlier, that Austin P is leading the way in the program that we just approved for the military affiliated tuition. We're the first in-state higher education institution to do that, which is quite remarkable. And then also, while our increase is 4%, we could have gone up to 5.5, but we did not, nor did we have to go up that high.
Correct.
And we also took time to read the comments. So for the benefit of the full board meeting, because not everybody may see the committee meeting, participate, I think it's important to note that we do take those comments, as Trustee Rowe mentioned earlier, into strong consideration and appreciation, because it takes a lot for somebody to speak up and say, you know what, I've got a question, I've got a concern. And so it's just a great testimony to the partnership that we have in our university entire community, internally as well as externally. So I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Secretary, please call the roll.
Trustee Atkins? Trustee Canada?
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
Trustee O'Malley?
Yes.
Trustee McInnes?
Yes.
Trustee Rowe?
Yes.
Trustee Simler?
Yes.
All ayes.
The motion carries. Trustee Canada, do you have a motion on the capital outlay and maintenance request for the 25 fiscal year?
Yes, I do. Your meeting materials included the capital outlay and maintenance requests for the 2026 fiscal year. By direction of the committee, I move to approve the capital outlay and maintenance request for the 2026 fiscal year.
You've heard the motion to approve the capital outlay and maintenance request for the 25-26 fiscal year. Since this is a motion of the committee, a second's not required. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Trustee Atkins? Trustee Canada?
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
Trustee O'Malley?
Yes.
Trustee McInnes?
Yes.
Trustee Rowe?
Yes.
Trustee Simler?
Yes.
All ayes.
The motion carries. Trustee Canada, do you have a motion for the land lease with the Clarksville Regional Airport?
Yes, I do. Your meeting materials included information on the land lease with the Clarksville Regional Airport. By direction of the committee, I move to approve the university executing a long-term lease of land at the Clarksville Regional Airport under the terms stipulated in the provided letter of intent.
You've heard the motion to approve a land lease with Clarksville Regional Airport. Since this is a motion of the committee, second's not required. Is there any discussion?
I'm full of questions today. And my question is this: when I looked at 10 years, which seems like a very long time, have we, I'm sure we have a legal review of contracts, but there's no huge penalty if something happens and we terminate that program and have to buy out short of 10 years?
I'm going to call on Vice President Rupervar to answer the details of that question.
Sorry, yes, the lease will have a 90-day termination for convenience clause, which is standard in state contracts.
Do we have to pay the remaining on the contract?
No, we do not.
Okay, you're much better than my alarm company then, that requires me to pay. The second question I had is that helicopter maintenance is very, very expensive, and we're finding that parts are hard to come by. Is this program have costs or have things built in? I'm not saying that it's self-sufficient, but the cost of flying hours continues to go up. And so I know you have a lot of interest. It's the only one in the state, or 7-state area, I think we said. So you've accounted for all of that in the expansion.
Yes, yes, and our instructors do a lot of the work themselves on maintaining our helicopters, and that's how we keep costs down. They also support local other flyers with helping them with their repairs when we have time. And one of the helicopters that we own is a shell of parts. So it is a non-operative helicopter, so that if something major goes down on one of the others, we can take it off of that unit and put it on one of the others.
Yeah, we call that hanger queen. So you take the parts off of that one to get the other ones up. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Secretary, please call the roll.
Trustee Atkins,
What is the question? What are we voting
To approve
here?
the motion for the land lease for the Clarksville
Yeah,
Regional.
I need to abstain, Mr. Chairman. I have a conflict there.
Trustee Atkins is abstaining, and that will be noted in the minutes. Trustee Canada?
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
Trustee O'Malley?
Yes.
Trustee McInnes?
Yes.
Trustee Rowe?
Yes.
Trustee Simler?
Yes.
The motion carries. I recognize Trustee McGinnis, Chair of the Student Affairs Committee, to give us a report of the committee meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the opportunity to present my report from this morning's Student Affairs Committee meeting. The committee met and approved the minutes from the March 22nd, 2024 committee meeting. There were no action items on the agenda. Dr. Clemens presented the following information items: food hall update and also handshake platform. I'd also like to mention that new members of Vice President Clemens' leadership team are present in the gallery this morning, and this is their first meeting, so please take time after the meeting, fellow trustees, to introduce yourselves. And thank you for being here this morning, ladies and gentlemen, new on the team. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee McGinnis. The next item on our agenda is the master plan. I recognize President Mike Licari to provide preliminary information about the master plan and to introduce the presenter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The campus master plan for any university is a critically important strategic document. It's one that maps out where we feel, what we feel will be the key facility and infrastructure needs over the next 10 years. The draft that will be presented is the product of more than a year's worth of work, a very in-depth and collaborative process that engaged pretty much the entire campus set of constituents. With that, I'm going to turn it over to our consultant, Art Lidsky. Art.
Thank you. As you can see, here is a list of some of the folks that we met with over the last year or so. Faculty, staff, students, administration, the board. It's been a engaged and participatory process, and we really enjoyed working with the students here and the faculty here. And it's been an interesting process. So I'm going to show you some of the things that have come up out of this master plan, some of the things that we've discovered, some of the things that we think you need to address. This is a slide that shows some of the analysis of the campus itself. So the map on the upper left is one that looks at the predominant building use on campus. And red represents the academic buildings, yellow represents student residences, the light green represents student lifetime spaces, and so on. It helped us understand where the departments were and how much space they had, and part of the analysis. The drawing on the upper right-hand side looked at pedestrian circulation on campus. And that circle, the red dotted line, represents a 5-minute walk from the front door of the library. So across the circle is 10 minutes, which is an important measure on campuses because that's usually the time between classes. And you want to make sure that almost all of your academic buildings are within that circle. And they are on this campus. And actually, if you move the circle up a little bit, they all are. The map on the lower left looks at vehicular circulation on campus. The sort of black, the darker roads are roads that are maintained by the city. The light green roads are those that are maintained by the campus. And at some point, we'll talk about the need to see if you can convince the city to work together to gain more effort or more control over the roads that are on your campus. We'll talk about that in a little bit more. The drawing on the lower right represents parking or shows the different parking spaces on campus. There are almost 5,000 spaces on campus. That's 36 acres of land used for parking. And that's a lot of land used for parking when you don't really have that large a campus. So we'll talk about that a little bit more too. We looked at space utilization. So this chart, which you probably can't read, shows the buildings on the left-hand side. There were 87 laboratories and studios that were scheduled in the fall of 2023. They were scheduled on average 16 hours per week. THEC recommends that you use a target of 20 hours per week for laboratories and studios. You're close to that. And when I look at other public universities across the country, you're close to that number. And you're doing pretty well, I think, even though you do not meet that target. We also looked at classroom utilization. There were 84 classrooms scheduled through the fall of 2023. They were scheduled on average 23 hours per week. THEC suggests 30 hours per week. We have over 200 utilization studies from campuses across the country, public and private, small and large. The private independent colleges usually are in the teens. The public universities of your scale usually are in the 20s. So you're not out of range of what we're seeing nationally, but you are slightly lower than what is being suggested by THEC. It simply means, I think, that you have sufficient classroom and laboratory space where you can grow the enrollment. It's not going to be a constraint on, the numbers of rooms are not going to be a constraint on enrollment growth. The size of those, some of those spaces will be. When we did our analysis, we had a long list of things that needed to be addressed by the university. Some of it was cosmetic, some of it was more detailed renovation, some of it could have been or could be new construction and so on. It was a long list. It's a list that you cannot afford to do and would take you years to do. But in talking to the university, we narrowed down the list. The sense of priorities came out about those things that were more important to the university at this time. And this is a list of some of those things that are important to address sooner than later. From that list, though, 6 projects came out, or 5 projects came out to be what we call key projects. And they're key for a certain number of reasons. One is that they have immediate impact on attraction and retention. They also they improve academic and student life resources. They help to create a vibrant and exciting campus, and they are transformational. So these are important projects to move forward with. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how we will address those key projects and other needs on the campus. Let me get a little closer. So this is the campus. Military Academic Building brings together 5 seemingly different programs that really have spaces that are shareable amongst themselves, amongst each other, and can reinforce each other's activities. Culinary Arts Program, the Communications Sports Broadcasting, the Institute of National Safety, Military Science, and Athletics. They work together and they can share resources, and this is one project that we think should move forward. The Health Professions Building is actually a trigger building in lots of different things that happen on this campus. When it is complete and occupied, it will free up space in a number of other buildings on campus that will be used for other purposes or for the same purposes. But for instance, in the Memorial Health Building, we can move ROTC into the Dunn Center when health and performing arts moves into the Health Professions Building. And when we do that, Memorial Health then becomes available for the University College. University College is a relatively new college, created, I think, this past August. It brings together existing programs that you currently have: Student Success, Honors Program, University Studies Program, Partnerships and Success, and Initiatives. And it brings it together in one location in Memorial Health. That building would need to be renovated to support that program. Little Govs is an exciting program that you offer to your faculty, staff, and students and to the community. It has a waiting list of 300 students. It's time to expand that facility. There's room on that site to do so, and we think that's an early project for you to be engaged in. The library has a relatively new librarian. She's been here, I think, a year, maybe 2 years. She has exciting ideas about the transformation of the library, and we think that that should be a project that should move forward. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. Let's see. Ellington Hall has 12 student-related departments. The building definitely needs to be renovated. One question is, where do we put folks while the renovation goes on? And some of the buildings that I'm going to talk about could be used for staging to allow that to happen. In fact, Mark's building, it's the middle college is in that building. They are relocating to the Burt School. They are vacating their space in Mark's, and the vacated space could be used for staging. In other words, you can move folks, some folks from Ellington into that building to allow Ellington to be renovated, and when Ellington is done, they move back into it, and Mark's is available again for staging for something else. It's a great resource. Harnett Hall is an academic building. The classrooms are too small for their program. It needs some ADA accessibility attention. It just needs to be brought up to date. Clement Hall, vacated space when the professions building is constructed, when the health professions building is constructed. It becomes a resource for criminal justice and the Department of Communication. McCord on the second and third floors. Psychology and psychological science and counseling, Center for Advancement of Faculty Excellence, Faculty Lounge. Those all become available for that vacated space. Blount and Sevier, they're student resources, student residences. They are about 188 women are in that building, 165 men in Blount. It lacks social space. It lacks really a good renovation. It will remain student housing. When the university gets to the point where it needs additional housing, there are two sites that are being explored. One downtown on Main Street in your parking lot, and one on Marion next to the existing buildings that you have right there. Either one could be a great resource. The question is how many spaces, how many beds do you need at some point in time, and then you'll know that in the future when it becomes time to do something about student housing again. Let me talk a little bit about the campus itself. We think that these intersections on College Street and on Marion Street need to be addressed to make them more safer for pedestrians, to make them more of a marketing, the painting on the ground that you've done at 8th Street and College would be a great resource to continue that. But I think that more importantly, you need to think about how to slow some of the traffic down to make those spaces more, those intersections more helpful for pedestrians moving back and forth across campus. The stars represent existing spaces, outdoor spaces on campus that can be improved or can be enhanced to make them more attractive to students. Some of them are along pedestrian pathways, some of them will be along future pathways, and we think that those photographs around the edges are examples of things that you can do to make this a more comfortable outdoor environment. Let's talk a little bit about roadways and so on. We think that the road between Jackson Alley and Marion, Henry Street, can be closed and made pedestrian. We think that Jackson Alley can be enhanced for student pedestrian activity. It'll remain an open road leading to parking and so on. But it actually is a path that goes to one of the entrances to the professions, health professions building when it's occupied. And we think that it also can lead to a enhanced pathway to the new University College in the Memorial Health Building. Marion Street. We talked about enhancing the intersections there to make them more attractive and to make them safer environments for students to pass. We also think you might want to gain control of that space in conversation with the city to get more control over it. That portion of it is an important one. It's between two recreational outdoor spaces. But basically, all of Marion Street is an important roadway. It is a speedway now. It is not a comfortable road to pass, and yet all of your students basically, I would say, cross that road almost daily, from parking, going to campus and going back again, to going to recreation and back again. And we think you need to have some conversation with the city about doing something to mitigate that problem. And this is a map that shows potential land acquisition that you ought to think about. Some are more important than others. But I think in general, these are places that you ought to consider in the future when they become available. And we're not saying you should go out and try to buy them now, but I think when they become available, you should consider them as something to acquire. Quick look at the cost, project cost. This is in 2024 dollars for these different projects. They range from $32 million down to $4.5 million to $9 million for the library. And I will stop and answer any questions or comments or corrections. And between Mike and I or the others behind me, we can answer your questions. Okay, do we have any further questions?
Just one question on the time that's spent in the academic classroom. How much do online classes affect that?
So we looked at online classes, and they are not part of those numbers. They are separate. That's a separate issue. This is actually on campus in those seats, use of those classrooms.
I understand that. I just wondered how much that affect when THEC said you need to have 30 hours. How much did people taking a class in their home affect that occupancy?
So it's too soon to say that, but I think we will have better information over the next year or two when we see more and more students taking online courses. There are hybrid courses, and we are tracking those hybrid courses where students are sometimes online and sometimes in course, on campus. There's also an interesting thing going on that we have found that even though it's an online course, students are still coming here to use your computers to take those online courses because either the internet is not as sufficient for them where they live or it's just more comfortable for them to do so. And that's happening more on the computer labs now than ever before.
And just to comment, the ugliest building on campus is the library. And it needed to be rehabbed. I was here when it opened. It needed to be rehabbed when it was opened.
Yeah.
So just to comment.
There are a couple of buildings like that.
I have a question. I noticed in your key priorities, there wasn't a line item for student housing immediate need. And as we continue to grow our enrollment, seems that would have been one of the key priorities to add additional student housing sooner than later.
So it depends on how quickly you grow the enrollment.
Right.
Because right now you have capacity for growth.
And we are growing.
But at some point, it'll reach a trigger point where you need to have more housing.
Yes, because it seems like our enrollment continues to grow, thankfully. Our retention is continuing to improve. So it would seem to me that a line item would be now, student housing is a key priority, but you're telling me that's kind of secondary now.
It's not secondary, but it's not immediate.
Right.
is what I would say. Over the next 2 or 3 years, or 4 or 5 years, I don't think you need student housing.
Well, I'm just thinking, because it takes a while to get things approved
Yeah,
for a
Trustee
big
Mc- yes,
expense,
Trustee McInnes, you're-
like that,
you're
you
right.
know?
What I would do is I would frame student housing as an emerging need, right? The list that you saw is an immediate need, right? That we could do well by having all of those projects built or renovated immediately, whereas student housing will continue to unfold as an emerging need over the next 2-3 years.
Thank you. And to Trustee Rose Point, I lived in Sevier Hall here as a freshman in the early 90s, so I'm all about Sevier Hall getting some renovation too.
Art, thanks for the great report. Quick question about Marion Street. Is the city, are we talking to the city already, and is that a big deal for the city to transfer management of a street? I would think, I was actually surprised that there are city-managed owned streets that are going through campus and that we don't have control of all of them already.
Yeah, we do have almost constant contact and communication with the city, of course, and it's a delicate thing. Obviously, Marion Street runs right through the heart of campus. It is a concern for us, both in terms of student safety, but then also just psychologically. We joke about Marion Street being but it's not a joke. As sort of a mental divider, north of Marion and south of Marion, and that's really too bad because it hurts the unified feel of campus. So there's a safety issue. There's sort of a psychological issue, I think. Obviously, Marion Street runs right through the heart of campus. From the city's perspective, there's always concerns about, completely shutting things down. I don't know that we would do that, but we would be able to control the speed and volume of traffic and things like that. So it is a priority that we have, and as with anything else, it'll be a negotiation.
I think too, Mr. President, when the new health professions building gets opened up, that side, if I could say, the campus is really going to explode even more with all the students, faculty, and staff they're going to be utilizing, as well as people within the community.
Mm-hmm. So the east edge of campus, east side of campus, up 8th Street especially, already is the pretty well tight hub of the academics on campus, and with the health professions building that further consolidates that over there. And so you're right, which is why it's important for us to have vehicular and pedestrian traffic through and to that area well thought out.
If I might also ask a question, I definitely appreciate possible changes to Marion Street. I think that would be great. I would love to see it be all pedestrian, honestly, and maybe a nice boulevard. I love the schematic that you had there with some trees. But I think a lot of people on our campus community are also concerned about College Street, which I realize, we probably have a limited ability to affect any change there. But did your study include anything about safety aspects regarding there? Again, our campus is kind of divided across College Street too, and I think as we continue to expand across College, traffic and safety is going to be a continuing issue there too.
College is a different street. It's a state roadway, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But what we'd like to see is something at College and Drain and College and Second Street as ways. Those two intersections need this attention, I think, more than some of the other areas. But there's little that we can do for the state-run road than we can for the city-run streets.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any more questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Litsky. That was a great presentation and a well-thought-out plan. Thank you. Thank you all. You've heard the information provided on the master plan. Do I hear a motion to approve the draft of the 2024 master plan to include authorizing the president and his designees to make any minor technical corrections to the plan if required after further review?
I make a motion.
You have a motion? And we have a second. It's moved and seconded that we approve the master plan update. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Trustee Atkins?
Yes.
Trustee Canada?
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
Trustee O'Malley?
Yes.
Trustee McGinnis?
Yes.
Trustee Rowe?
Yes.
Trustee Simler?
Yes.
All ayes.
Okay, the motion carries. The next agenda item is a naming request for the Doug Downey bullpen at Raymond C. Hand Park. Prior to asking for a motion, I invite Mr. Chris Phillips, Vice President for Alumni Engagement and Philanthropy and Executive Director of the APSU Foundation, to provide more information about this agenda item.
Thank you, Chairman Jenkins, and each of you for being here today and for making the Govs for Life an experience for so many. Thank you. If I'm here, that means one of two things are happening. We've got a gift that's reached the stewardship level of a naming, or we're also going to have some awards to do. Both of those are the case today. So it's a great day to be a Gov, right, Gerald Harrison? Absolutely. All right. So the naming committee met on April 8th, 2024, in accordance with APSU Naming Policy 7009, and the committee members unanimously recommend that the Joe Maynard Field's home bullpen be named after Doug Downey in honor of his family's generous contributions to the APSU Athletics Department and its baseball program over the years. And the name, as I said, is the Doug Downey Bullpen, and the full minutes of that meeting is in your packet. Doug is a 1979 graduate of the College of Business and a baseball student athlete. He was a banker for many years before becoming Vice President of Treasury at Nashville-based HCA Healthcare. He has since retired and is an avid fan of APSU baseball and a member of the APSU Foundation and the APSU Athletics Cabinet. Linda, his wife, a Clarksville native, became a small business entrepreneur and is very involved in volunteering her time and efforts throughout the Springfield and Robertson County areas. And I would be remiss if I didn't say both of them are full-time grandparents to Chandler and Remy. So at this time, that is the motion.
Do I hear a motion to approve the naming request for the Doug Downey bullpen at Raymond C. Hand Park?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. It's moved. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. We're being asked to approve several awards to individuals who have demonstrated their commitment to Austin Peay. Prior to asking for a motion, I invite Mr. Phillips to provide information on these awards.
Thank you again, Chairman Jenkins. The nominations for your considerations are your packets, but I would like to bring forth to you the three awards that are being nominated. The first is Philanthropist of the Year. This year's nominees are Ron and Andrea Morton. Ron is a 1970 graduate of the College of Behavioral and Health Sciences and a former APSU track and field standout. After graduation, he worked as a basketball coach and a physical education teacher in Tunisia through the Peace Corps. He is now one of the largest franchisees of H&R Blocks in the country. In 2012, Ron and his wife Andrea established the Ronald L. Morton Scholarship for student athletes majoring in business. In 2020, they made a significant donation to Austin Peay's Department of Athletics to support the track and field, cross country, and men's basketball teams, and also athletic scholarships across the department. Ron and Andrea's gifts continue to empower Austin Peay student athletes and further the Total Gov concept. In recognition of their generosity, the APSU Board of Trustees approved the naming of Forterra Stadium Ron and Andrea Morton Family Track in 2012. The Military Service Award. The recipient of the APSU Board of Trustee Military Service Award is retired Army General Gary Luck, an inaugural member of the APSU Board of Trustees, who served from 2017 until 2021. During his 36-year military career, General Luck achieved the rank of 4-star general, commanded at the highest levels of our armed forces, and served on multiple deployments in Vietnam. After retiring in 1996, he worked as a senior fellow for the National Defense University in Washington, D.C. As a member of the APSU Board of Trustees, General Luck spent hours preparing, presenting, and answering questions from attendees during a seminar on emotional intelligence in the workplace. Throughout his service to the military and his community, General Luck has demonstrated a strong commitment to helping others. His mentorship has influenced generations of military leaders and left a profound impact on our national defense. And finally, our Service Award nominee is Barry Callback. Barry and his wife Maggie are both Austin Peay graduates and dedicated supporters of their alma mater, donating their time, talent, and treasure to the university every year since 1982. In 1988, Barry was instrumental in establishing the APSU support group of Train employees, later known as the Train Alumni Chapter. Under his leadership, the group helped fund numerous campus initiatives and created several endowments currently valued at $1 million. Barry has served as Austin Peay's homecoming co-chair and a member of the Govs Club, the President's Giving Tower, the Monocle Society. He has worked in leadership positions with engineering physics advisory boards, the What If Comprehensive Campaign, yay, and the APSU Foundation, where he is currently leading a group to reimagine the current structure and the purpose of our foundation. In addition to his involvement with Austin Peay, Barry is an active community volunteer, dedicated blood donor, and accomplished professional. He received the Tennessee Academy of Science Industry Science Award in 2006, holds 4 U.S. patents for developing innovative software programs. Barry has made a lasting impact on both his alma mater and surrounding area. Those are the nominations, sir.
You've heard the explanation from Mr. Phillips. We will take these up as a group. Do I hear a motion to approve the following awards? Ron and Andrea Morton as the Philanthropist of the Year recipients, Gary Luck as the Govs Who Lead Through Military Service recipient, Barry Callback as the Govs Who Lead Through Service recipient. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Chairman.
We have a motion, we have a second. It's moved and seconded that we approve these award recipients. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving these awards signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Phillips.
Thank you, sir.
At this time, I recognize President Licari to give his report and to also report on any interim items.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I'm going to add my welcome to our new student trustee, Campbell Moore. Congratulations. I look forward to working with you in this capacity. I know I've worked with you in all of your other capacities that you've had on campus. You are quite the student leader, so welcome to the board, and I look forward to the year. Looking back, it's the June meeting, and so just to reflect a little bit back on the 23-24 academic year, I do want to take a moment to celebrate some really big accomplishments. Last fall we had the largest increase in freshman enrollment in the state, the largest overall enrollment increase in the state outside of Knoxville. That just beat us by about 1/10 of a point, so I was pretty grouchy about that, but, close second. We had we have a very dynamic group of leaders on campus on the enrollment task force. Very creative, very innovative, and aggressive ideas coming out of finance administration with Sharouz all the way through admissions and financial aid as we continue to look for ways to support more Tennesseans and beyond to go to college. And it's working. Our student success work is also paying off. As of yesterday morning anyway, our retention rate for the freshman class that came in 23 is about 4.5 percentage points better than where we were at this date last year. So good hard work is paying off. And so thank you to the folks on the Student Success Task Force that have put together last year. And a lot of that effort is coming out of Student Affairs as well as Dr. Loretta Griffey's efforts. So thank you. You heard earlier a little bit of an update from Dr. Tucker Brown on the SAC COC decennial review. We passed with flying colors. We passed in a way that almost no university passes, which is a completely clean report. More than 90% of institutions that go through SAC COC evaluations get some kind of finding, and we were completely clean. So that was a tremendous amount of work. I've been in Tucker's shoes before doing those at other institutions, and it is literally years of work. And so I was very happy to be able to present him a couple of weeks ago with the President's Award for Leadership on campus. And so congratulations and thank you, Tucker, for that. course, we had a great year in athletics with football and baseball championships and our men's basketball program in the conference championship game. Those are tremendous successes. Winning championships, winning those trophies is very, very difficult. And so to win 2, almost 3, is a tremendous year. But we also did it in ways that we can be proud of. In terms of engaging the community, we had record attendance in a number of programs, including football. We had record-setting academic performance again this year with our student athletes, proving that championships in competition are not mutually exclusive with excellence in the classroom. And so I'm very, very proud of our student athletes. Our ROTC program competed in the Sandhurst Military Skills Competition again at West Point. Only 16 of the 274 programs in the nation get to compete, and we do so regularly. So I'm very proud of that program. And last Veterans Day, last fall, Walt Lord was named as one of 10 veterans who've made a difference in Clarksville. And if you've noticed, Clarksville has a lot of veterans. And so being in the top 10 is very, very impressive. And as the new vice president or as the VP for our new Military and Veterans Affairs Division, he's doing a tremendous job spearheading student support, recruiting efforts. We've got record enrollment amongst a number of types of military students, including those enrolled at Fort Campbell. And so as the state's leading provider of higher education for military-affiliated students, that's great, but we can always get better, and he's leading the charge in that area. In student affairs, what a great year they've had under new leadership. With Dr. Leonard Clemens coming on board, we launched club hockey. Who would have ever thought that Austin Peay State University would have a hockey team? I'm very happy. I'm biased about that. It's a fantastic sport, and they've gotten off to a fabulous start. Residence hall occupancy, we've talked about that earlier in another context when we were discussing the master plan. Occupancy does continue to climb, and so as that emerges, we will continue to be thoughtful about our space needs. But it's very exciting that that our residence halls are attractive to new and our returning students. And then, of course, in terms of campus life, you can't miss the hammocks that are around. Those things are pretty cool. They've turned out to be a tremendous asset for our students and even our faculty and staff sometimes I see in those. And in terms of the strategic plan, Vice President Whiteside will provide you an update in the September meeting, but I just want to highlight a couple of things. We've launched our People in the Community Day of Service. We've launched a leadership exchange, which is a great way to invite community leaders to campus to learn more about what we're doing at Austin Peay. And in collaboration with Lanisa Williams and the Office of Institutional Culture, we are launching a new leadership academy on campus this fall for our faculty and staff and their professional growth and development. So a lot going on. Looking forward, I'm excited that we'll finish a number of our construction projects over the next 3 to 5 months. The O'Malley Family Welcome Center, which we got a tour of yesterday, which is coming along very nicely. You heard about the cafeteria in Catherine Evans Harville Hall, and we'll finish up the Kimbrough Business Building as well, that renovation. Things to be mindful of as we go forward. The college-going rate in Tennessee continues to be substantially lower than it was, over the last 5 to 10 years, and parents and family members continue to have questions about return on investment in terms of whether or not it's smart to send kids off to college. And so we want to make sure that we're answering those ROI questions positively. We know that we need to be mindful of post-graduation success of our students and making sure that Austin Peay continues to be a positive force in the development of economic growth and workforce development in the area. And then, of course, athletics continues to get more complicated by the minute with conference realignment, transfer portal, NIL, and everything else coming out of the NCAA. Thank you to Gerald Harrison, who has just been named to the Division I Council. on the NCAA, and so we literally now have a voice on the group. So congratulations and kudos, and his job continues to get harder by the minute. In light of all this, all of these things to think about, my broad priorities for the university going forward remain campus life and vitality, enrollment in all aspects, student success with an increased focus on post-graduation success. And so these priorities are going to be achieved through continued energy and creativity and recruitment of students, campus life efforts leveraging athletics, initiatives that synchronize campus efforts around student success, academic programs and curricula that meet student interests and workforce needs, co-curricular, curricular, and extracurricular experiences for students that build professional skills so that they are career ready when they graduate. That's a lot. And doing these things will require philanthropic support. Doing these things well, though, will inspire donors as we work on our next campaign. These things also require that we shed any complacency or satisfaction with the status quo. So the theme for the year will be on the move as we prepare Austin Peay for our next 100 years while we gear up to celebrate our centennial in 2027. So finally, your packet includes a list of contracts and agreements that have been executed, State Building Commission actions that have occurred since our last board meeting. Thank you. That concludes my remarks, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. LaCar. Do we have any questions or comments? I'll tell you, it's an exciting time to be at Austin Peay. If you look at the management group that we have at Austin Peay, if you look at the teachers, you look at our student body, this is an exciting time to be a Gov. And I think the key thing is that with all of us, I think didn't have to encourage me to wear red today. I'd like to thank everybody for the name tags. Name tags, I find, in our business are very important. It's important that a student that comes here that sees somebody they don't know can connect a name with that person. A parent can connect a name with these people. And I would encourage you to have the people that work with you to make sure they wear their name tags. That takes off the edge when you're meeting somebody. It's a very significant thing, and you see a lot of name tags around here today, so I'm happy to see that. But again, I think the key thing is that we're on a roll. We're on the move. But we're on a roll. We've got great people in every position at this university. It's in the best shape that I have ever seen it. I have been, I moved to Clarksville in 1953, but started going to Austin Peay things in '62, and being on a lot of the president board of counselors and whatnot, and it's just amazing the synergy and the excitement at Austin Peay and how we're moving forward in today's place. I've got to tell you that student education right now, being a president of a university is probably one of the toughest jobs around here right now. You're getting thrown with a lot of things. I think the next thing is being an AD with name, image, and likeness, all the different things that happen with a mid-level school, and yet we're thriving. And I'd like to thank everybody for your commitment to Austin Peay and your commitment to moving the needle and going forward. So without further ado, I would entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting, reminding you that our next scheduled meeting is September 20th, 2024. Do we have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
And a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you.
How many kids do you have?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.